Economics Tutoring Center, and today we're going to do an example on monopolistic competition. Before I begin, I'd like to remind you that different teachers like to use different notations and different styles, so make sure to check with them before you commit to any one way we teach here. Alright, so what I have drawn here are the cost curves in a monopolistic competition graph. Before I begin, I'd like to go over a little bit about what a monopolistically competitive firm is. So this might look like a monopoly. We see that we don't have a horizontal line for marginal revenue and demand, and we have two separate lines that represent them. And this is a characteristic of what a monopoly graph looks like. However, it's still different. In a monopolistically competitive market, people can enter the industry. So it's not just one firm, but it's many firms who are able to enter the market if there's positive profit. And then unlike a perfectly competitive market, the product that each firm is offering is slightly differentiated. And so each firm is going to have their own demand curve. All right, so knowing that information, we're going to go ahead and start to figure out whether or not this firm is making a profit, where they're operating at, and what else we can determine from this graph. So we have our average total cost curve, our marginal cost, marginal revenue, and demand. If you remember, the very first thing we have to check is that output level, where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. At this moment, we don't care about this average total cost or the demand line. We just want to know what that output level is. So, marginal cost, marginal revenue, well, where do those intersect? About here. So what's that quantity? If we surmise from the graph that this quantity is 10, 10 becomes our operational quantity. So for the rest of the time we're dealing with this graph, 10 is very important. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this curve all the way up, or this line for 10, because it's something that we're going to be using when we're referencing other lines. So now that we've found our operational quantity, now we're going to find what price this firm is going to charge, and also whether or not they're able to make a profit. So, taking 10, because that's what marginal cost equals marginal revenue, we're going to carry that up, not just to our marginal revenue, but all the way up to our demand curve. So, finding this quantity is essential to being able to find the price that we operate on the demand curve. So, if this firm is operating at a price of 5 and a quantity of 10, total revenue, which is equal to price times quantity, is going to equal 5 for price times this equilibrium quantity, 10. So total revenue will be $50. Now, just having total revenue doesn't tell us whether or not the firm's going to make a profit. We also need to determine what the costs for this firm are. So, again, using 10 and now our average total cost curve, we're going to drag 10 up to where it intersects our average total cost curve and find out what that is. So let's say that's 3. Well, in that case, then our total cost is going to equal our average total cost times our quantity. Our quantity is still 10, and we said from here that where they intersect is at 3. So total cost is going to equal $30. So we can tell that because our total revenue is greater than our total cost, the firm is making positive economic profits. Now, what I said in the beginning becomes especially important here, because in a monopoly, just a monopoly market, the firm would be able to continuously make this positive profit. However, because in a monopolistically competitive market, firms are able to enter. There aren't so many barriers to entry. Then, because they're making a positive profit, we're going to have more firms enter, and because we have more firms, each firm gets a lesser and lesser chunk, so to say, of the market, and they're going to start making less and less profit. And entry is going to continue to occur until profits equal zero once again. So that's all we have for today with monopolistically competitive firms. If you need any additional assistance, feel free to come to the Economics Tutoring Center. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day, and this has been Monopolistic Competition.